Port Kestrel wasn't much to look at, just a ring of patched bulkheads clinging to a grey moon, but it was home. I kept its cargo lifts humming, its water filters breathing, its alarms mostly quiet. On the night the mercenaries arrived, the station smelled like ionized dust and hot metal. They strode in with scarred armor and travel-quiet eyes, led by a tall woman with pale slate skin and hair braided in bands of silver. Her name was Kira of the Viewer. I learned it by accident, same way I learned about VYR Honor. I was hauling a crate of coolant cartridges down a corridor and should have turned left to hydroponics. Instead, I nudged open a door marked with a symbol I didn't recognize. Steam feathered out. Inside, too late to back away, I saw her. Armor on the bench, tunic unlaced, her back turned to me. Not skin exactly. Voidermis shifts like weathered stone, but I saw the stories carved there. Starburns, blade crescents, the map of a life lived on the edge of gravity. My throat closed. I stumbled backward, dropping a cartridge that clacked across the deck. She swung around, eyes narrowing, then went still in a way that made the room feel smaller. She took one step, lifted a hand, not to strike, but to touch the braid that lay across her shoulder. "You looked," she said, voice low as a heat sink. "You claimed." "I what?" "Sorry. Wrong door. I didn't mean to. You saw my scars with your unshielded eyes." She nodded once, as if confirming an equation. "By VYR law, you claim my rest and my fight until your debt is satisfied." I blinked at her. "I claimed you." Her stare didn't waver. "Yes." Scene 2, Terms of an Oath. We met again 5 minutes later in the bay outside the locker room. Me mortified, her armored and calm. The other mercenaries glanced between us, amused in the way soldiers get when trouble isn't theirs. "It's a misunderstanding," I tried. "Humans don't have that custom." "You stepped across a private threshold," she said. "If you reject the claim, I must leave this place or challenge you." I imagined dueling a 7-foot VYR with a torque blade. Could we not do either? Her mouth tilted, half a smile, half a test. "Then accept. Your claim requires you to provide safe harbor and speak truth to me. In return, I keep watch and carry blades in your shadow." "That's not how claiming usually works where I'm from." "It is not ownership," she said, the smile fading. "It is responsibility shared." Something in her voice sounded tired. Tired in the way machines are when a bearing's gone rough and they pretend otherwise. I thought of those scars again, the careful braids, the roads she'd walked. I swallowed. "Okay," I said. "Then, okay." She bowed, a slight warrior's bend. "Jax of Kestrel," she said, trying my name. "I am claimed." Scene 3, Raiders at the gate. The alarms chose that moment to wail. 3 long, 1 short. Docking clamp override. Raiders. We'd heard they were running the belt again, snapping up small stations like ours, taking filters and fuel and anyone who protested. The lights shifted to emergency amber. The station intercom cracked with the voice of Marlowe, the port master. "All hands, Bay 2 now." "I go with you," Kira said. "I thought I was supposed to shelter you. And I am supposed to stand between you and all that would break you." We ran. In Bay 2, the external cam feed showed a scarred cutter nosing close, magnetic feet spitting sparks. Kira assessed the schematic in 3 seconds. "They'll breach at the maintenance spur," she said, pointing. "Narrow. Good for a stand. Good for a trap," I said. "Follow me." We slid into the shaft that bent like a metal intestine behind the cargo racks. My palms knew every rung, every scuffed bolt. Kira moved like a rumor, big frame weightless in the hush. I patched into the spur's control node and killed the gravity plates in a 30-meter slice. The breech charge boomed, air sighed. Armored shapes rolled in on blue jets. Now, Kira murmured. Scene 4 0G lessons. In freefall, everything is either a weapon or a mistake. Kira launched first, a silver arc, boots glancing a raider's visor, elbow catching another's rebreather. I flung a coil of cable that wrapped a third man's legs, yanking him into the wall with a hollow thud. A shot cracked past my ear, chewing a blossom from the bulkhead. Kira pivoted, planted her blade in the shooter's chest plate, and pushed off, breath harsh in my ear like the ocean I'd never seen. A raider found me, fingers closing on my collar. I thumbed the coil's winch and the line snapped tight, slingshotting me under his arm. Kira's gauntlet met his jaw. He spun away, and in the spin I saw her flinch, one hand on her ribs. Blood, dark and nearly black, purled between plates. "You're hit. Claimed does not fall while the harbor stands," she said through her teeth. "Can you cut the cutter's umbilical from here?" I popped a panel, keyed into the mag line release. "Bypassing authorization," I said. They piggybacked the clamp handshake. "Smart. Be smarter." I grinned despite the fear. "Working on it." Outside, the cutter shifted, suddenly unsecured. A stuttering curse came over open comms. The raiders faltered. Kira nodded once. "Better." Scene 5, the narrow way. Marlowe's voice broke in ragged. "They're pushing toward the command ring. I can't hold them." "Command ring's glass," I said. "Breakers hit it, we lose pressure for half the station." Kira's eyes flicked to me. "Options. Service conduit through the coolant trunks," I said, thinking fast. "It bypasses the main corridor. If we beat them there, we can flood the ring with coolant mist and blind their optics." "Lead." We crawled through a pipe that always felt too small when I was alone and now felt like a coffin. Kira jammed her shoulder to widen a snagged seam, metal squealing. Her breath shortened. I pushed the pace, guilty heat riding my neck. She was bleeding because of me. 'Cause I'd opened the wrong door. We hit the valve junction a heartbeat before the raiders. I spun the wheels. Cold haze boiled through the command ring's vents, whitening the world on the cam feeds. Shapes stumbled. Kira stepped into the fog like a myth. Her blade sang. I met the nearest raider with my wrench. The fight was close and senseless and loud. When the mist thinned, 6 raiders were down. The rest fled toward their cutter, only to find it adrift. Station guns, such as they were, woke up and spat. The cutter's engine coughed, flared, died. Then it left our orbit in a slow, embarrassed slide. The alarm cut off. Silence fell with the weight of gravity plates coming back online. Scene 6, what we choose. In med, I sealed the wound along Kira's ribs with foam and a shaking hand. Her pulse fluttered under my fingers, steadying as the analgesic worked. Up close, her eyes were a deeper slate, shot with faint constellations. "You did well," she said. "You bleed quietly," I said. "I don't like it." "That is because you have made a true claim." She studied me. Most would have laughed and pushed me away. "I nearly did," I admitted. "But you walked into my station with 1,000 miles behind you and no one to watch your back. I know that feeling. I just pretend it's different." She reached for her braid, and with a practiced tug loosened a silver band. She pressed it into my palm. "Token of bond," she said. "If you keep it, the claim becomes chosen, not accidental."